Meeting. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll take a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. We are open for business. All right, so the first portion of the meeting is public comment, and that is the portion where folks have the chance to bring something to the select board's attention that may not be covered on this evening's agenda. Is there anyone who has something that they would like us to hear about? All right, seeing none, we'll move right along to old business. First item is the approval of the January 4, 2022 Select Board meeting minutes. I'll take a motion. Moved and seconded. That item is open for discussion. All right, seeing none, I will make a motion that we approve the January 4, 2022 meeting minutes. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. All right, next up, we have the January 5, 2021 Town of Belgrade Budget Workshop meeting minutes. I'll take a motion to open that item.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. That item is open for discussion. All right, seeing none, I'll make a motion that we approve the January 5, 2021 Town of Belgrade Budget Workshop meeting minutes. Moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. All right, new business. So we are at the discussion and consideration of the 2022 warrant articles.
And before we start on this stuff, I'd like to make a little statement. I'm extremely disappointed in the way this budget stuff has been done this year. We normally do an all-day session in November where we go through every single thing, make corrections to what we can correct, corrections to warrant articles. And normally in December, you go through and you approve all the corrections and everything that can be approved that doesn't need final numbers after the auditor end of the year happens. And then we come in and as soon as that's done and approve those last few articles. This year is the most screwed up thing I've ever seen in my life.
Just felt like we packed it all.
It's
right in
it's
in a short
nothing,
time
you know,
frame.
doing things for a few hours here and a few hours there, it's aren't working. It's not organized properly. And it's probably all our fault too, because we didn't push to have it done. But if we can't get it done next year, organized, then it's time to find somebody else to organize it. So that's just my opinion. And I just want to put it out there before we get started on this, because there's no way we're going to get through all this stuff tonight.
And keep our fingers and our toes crossed,
Um,
because tonight is it.
Melanie, I would just like to say, out of respect for the, or offer, out of respect for the budget committee, could we maybe go through the warrant articles that the budget committee has to vote on and get those done and then come back, so they could leave if they want to, and then come back to the ones that the select board only has to vote on. And maybe that'll move it along a little tonight.
We could certainly try. I feel like if we're bouncing around back and forth, that's gonna end up being more confusing.
Well,
I see a nod. Are you guys all right if we just plow right through
We
start
just
to
wanted to get it
finish?
done, that's all.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and Bernstein, sure, that one. Paving project article, do we have?
It's 21, it's, you have a copy of,
I tucked it in. Okay, updated budget packet. In fact, LD1, yay, we don't need an LD1. All right, so let's rock and roll. Article 1, we don't need to do anything with. Article 2, to elect town officers, we don't need to do anything with. Article 3, shall the town raise and appropriate $1,116 for the Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center? 2021 actual was $1,116.50. 2022 request is $1,116. So take a motion. Oh, do I have to take? I cramped on what I was doing there.
I think we have to take a motion to accept the article. If we haven't, what have we done?
We
we accepted all of this stuff?
accepted all of the ones that were petition articles. So
Okay,
at this
so-
point, we
So we
just
just need to
vote.
vote on.
Yeah. All right, so select board, Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Carol,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes,
All right, 5 yeses from the select board, 0 no's.
Budget committee,
There's a comment box here with a question. Do we ignore that?
That's on the next article.
I'm sorry,
That's
you're
okay.
back up to this one right here.
or this right here. Okay.
I need a vote for the
Yes,
budget committee.
yes.
Yes. Is that 5 yes? 5 yes.
All right, 5 yes. 0 no's. Okay, Article 4. Shall the town raise and or appropriate $40,000 for lake protection to be dispersed in the amounts indicated to the following organizations and from the following funding sources? Belgrade Lakes Association 2021 actual was $16,000. Belgrade Lakes Association 2022 request is $16,000. Friends of Messalonsky 2021 actual was $13,100. 2022 budget request is $13,100. Seven Lakes Alliance 2021 actual was $8,400. Seven Lakes Alliance 2022 request is $8,400. The McGraw Salmon Lake Association 2021 actual is $2,500. And the McGraw Salmon Lake Association's 2022 request is $2,500. Total amount in 2021 was $40,000 with funding from non-property tax sources of $20,000 and $20,000 from property taxes. This year's 2022 request is $40,000. Funding from non-property tax sources is $20,000 with $20,000 from property taxes. So current balance in the water quality improvement fund is $30,000. Do we want to take 20 from that, or do we want to take a little bit more? Or less?
I wouldn't recommend taking more because what happens if we need some for something else? We had that for some other projects in case it came up, emergencies came up, or we had problems with runoff or.
Okay, so leave that at 20. Is everybody okay with
I'd
that?
rather not get it down too low.
20 is fine with me.
All right, so select board recommendation, Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Dan?
Yes,
Sorry, I said Dan, I was looking at Rick. Ricky,
Yes.
5 yeses, 0 no's.
Budget committee,
Yes,
yes, 5 yeses, or 6 yeses, 5 yeses, I'm sorry. And that should be 5 yeses, 1 absent.
Yeah, Scott texted me. He's on his way. He's just running a little late.
Okay.
Okay, article number 5, shall the town raise and appropriate $1,488 to help fund spectrum generations for Belgrade residents? 2021 actual was $1,195.50. 2022 request is $1,488. Carol? Carol?
Yes.
Barbara?
yes,
Ricky? Yes? Dan?
no,
All right, 4 yeses, 1 no.
Budget committee,
yes,
Yes.
yes, okay, 5 yeses, 1 absent.
All right, article number 7, shall the town raise and appropriate $1,500 to help fund hospice volunteers of the Waterville area? 2021 actual was $1,500, 2022 request is $1,500. Dan,
yes,
Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Carol?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses, 0
Budget
no's.
committee,
Yes.
Yes. 5 yes, 1 absent.
All right, Article number 8, shall the town raise and appropriate $5,000 to help fund the Belgrade Lakes Region Business Group's 4th of July fireworks? 2021 actual was 0, 2022 request is 5,000. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Vicky,
I'm gonna vote no.
okay, Dan?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 no.
Budget committee?
Yes.
No.
4 yes, 1 no, 1 absent.
All right, Article 9, shall the town approve a repeal and replacement of the subdivision ordinance?
Yes.
Carol, Barbara,
yes,
Vicky,
I hate these things. I hate ordinances. I'm probably gonna vote no.
okay, Dan?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 no. Article 10, shall the town approve amendments to the Board of Appeals ordinance? Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Dan,
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. Article number 11, shall the town approve amendments to section 15 B titled Impact on Lake Water Quality of the Commercial Development Review Ordinance? Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes, yes.
no, I got you.
Okay, sorry.
Ricky?
Are you waiting for me?
I am. This is the one, Ricky, that,
I'm gonna vote yes on it, just to let the taxpayers decide on it.
well, this is just changing that one so that it falls in line with the state standards and we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. Article 12, shall the town approve a repeal and replacement of the cemetery ordinance? Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Ricky,
Yep, I guess so.
Dan?
I'm gonna vote no on that one. I think it went from a very simple ordinance to a very complicated ordinance.
Okay, so 4 yeses and 1 no. All right, general government, article number 13, to see if the town will authorize the board of select persons to act on the following. To spend an amount not to exceed 1/4 of the approved budget for 2022 between January 1, 2023 and the date of the regular 2023 town meeting. Vote to accept all overdrafts and balances that have lapsed and are not otherwise directed to the undesignated fund. Dan,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara.
yes,
Oh,
Yes.
all right, 5 yeses, no nos. Article 14, to see if the town will vote pursuant to 36 MRSA Section 506 to authorize the tax collector to accept prepayment of property taxes prior to the delivery of the tax commitment to the tax collector by the assessors without payment of interest. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara?
yes,
All right, 5 yeses. Article 15, to see if the town will set Friday, September 2, 2022 as the date 2022 property taxes are due. For taxes paid after September 2, 2022, interest will be charged at a rate of 2.05% per annum. Interest will continue until the tax and tax lien are paid in full. Additionally, to see if the town will set the interest rate to be paid by the town on taxes paid and later abated at 2% per annum. Interest will accrue from the date of the tax payment to the date the abated amount is refunded to the taxpayer. Are we comfortable with the 2.05? Do we want to hold the line on that again this year? We could go up to 6.
Always have this discussion because we don't like taxing people interest, but we also don't want them to stiff the town.
Those $8 ones are gonna rack it up. Probably be like 8.10 by the time we get them.
Question, last year it was at 2.79.
So Tom, it's traditionally been 1 percentage point above what the interest rate for the TAN is, and that changes each year. So the interest rate on the tax anticipation note this past year was 1.05%. It was 1.79% the year before that.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. So do we want to do that, or do we want to stay with the amount that we did last year? I think we had done the 1% over the
Yeah.
TAN to make it easy to calculate.
Right, and that's what I thought we normally do, so if this is the 2.05, is that 1% over the TAN?
Yeah,
This past year was 1.05 for the TAN.
Yes. Leave it the way it is.
all right, so yes,
Yes.
yes. Barbara,
yes,
Carol?
Yes.
All right, five yeses, 0 nos. Article 16, to see if the town will appropriate estimated revenues in the amount of 1,635,000. No, read that right? 1,635,700.
That figure should change, Melanie, to $1,624,181. We just now excised the plumbing fee for that. It's also included in Article 18. I put that correct copy.
Thank you. Okay, to see if the town will appropriate the estimated revenues in the amount of $1,624,181 from the following sources to reduce the property tax commitment. Vehicle excise tax, are we comfortable if I just read the 2022 proposed? Okay. Vehicle excise tax, 1,005,316. Boat excise tax, 9,996. Interest and cost fees, 15,875. Cable franchise fees, 47,803. Bank interest, 13,520. Homestead exemption, 216,591. Municipal revenue sharing, 315. 080 for a total amount proposed for 2022 of 1,624,181. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Rick,
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
All right, 5
Can you
yeses.
give me the correct numbers here so I can get them on the box?
Budget committee. Yes.
Yes. Yes, so what's this total?
Scott, you
About
can
24,000.
vote or,
1,624,000.
I'll abstain. I'm beginning on.
that's fine, yeah.
Tail end of the process, so.
So we have 5, 4, 1 abstention.
Okay, article number 17, to see if the town will approve the creation of a planning board legal reserve fund for the purpose of funding legal expenses related to litigation that results from planning board decisions, and to appropriate $12,000 to the fund from the undesignated fund. Unexpended balances in the fund would remain in the fund for future use.
That's a procedural question.
Sure.
Some of these, the budget committee votes on, and this one, it doesn't look like the budget committee's has to be voted on, where it's monetary, I would expect it to procedurally.
It is, Tom, if you turn
Turn
the
the
page.
page.
Oh.
All right, well, that was easy. Top of the next page, it says select board recommendations 0. You want to flip the page right over.
Just on the back of that page.
You gotta go to the old page, the original page you had, not the one that Andy just gave you.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh, that.
The one that Anthony gave you on the backside is black.
Yeah,
Right.
the backside blank.
That's why I was transferring it over into my one big one.
Yeah, my apologies.
You get the updated one?
This is the updated.
Oh, this is one you just gave us.
We're arguing there, so.
Did you get the updated numbers, though, that sheet
We have
that
them.
Bruce has? Okay. Because I picked mine up tonight and I didn't have that in there that was over here. All right, so select board, Dan,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Carol?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses, 0 nos.
Budget committee,
Yes.
5 and 1 abstention. Scott, let me know when you want to vote here.
Yeah, no, go right on down the line.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Are you not voting on any of them?
Well, bear in mind, this is second meeting.
It's my second
Right.
meeting. so
Oh, we
really-
expect you to come right to the table,
Yeah.
ready to
Be fully
vote.
prepared and memorize the numbers here.
If I see anything, I'll speak up.
Okay.
All right, Article 18, to see if the town will appropriate $11,585 from plumbing fees and raise and appropriate $731,395 for a total of $742,980 for municipal operations and administrative activities as follows. Select Board 2022 proposed $14,855. Board of Appeals 2022 proposed $1,300. Administration, $426,010. Town manager, $112,490. Code enforcement officer and plumbing inspector, $56,325, which includes $6,000 for the code enforcement software. Planning board, $6,350. Hearings and elections, $11,950. Insurance, $98,200. And that is without a flexible spending account added. Town historian, $500. Did we vote to raise the town historian? And did we raise them across the board?
We did not raise it across the board, so that's up to we talked about this previously, but it was $400 last year, so if you want to lower it to back to 400. Or it's called.
And so we probably should keep it the way it is if we're not going right across the board, but maybe we do want to take a look at that and see if where we've held because we have an emergency management director that we pay, so $400 for that one, town historian, the health officer. So those are all 400, so we should,
Actually, the emergency management is 300.
300, okay. Can we look at that? But I make a motion that we reduce the amount to $400 for the town historian, keeping in line with what it's been in the past.
Just increase that to 500. It's 100 bucks.
I know, do we want to
And
go?
then it's not gonna really affect these budgets.
I know, then we gotta pick them out of each one, health officers, and the next one under public safety. I don't want to miss one.
We've just raised everyone else. If we leave them all at 500, then we're,
Okay, so keep that amount then at 500 and make sure that we change it on
check the others. as we
that
go.
one.
Yeah,
Okay. Funding from non-property tax sources, 0 from the undesignated fund. Plumbing fees, $11,585. Building permit fees, $8,250. For a total from non-property tax sources, $19,835. Funding from property taxes, $708,145. Now, where we have, the beginning of the article says if the town will appropriate from the plumbing fees, should
Yes,
we
we need to add the building.
and the building permit fees with that amount?
Yeah,
Because I had my total and I was like, this is not totaling up to the right amount for me.
I got another question on that. on
Yeah.
Plumbing fees.
Yeah.
So the actual in 2021, $6,000. How can we double that budget? Go from 6,000 to 11,585.
let me double check that.
And
Well,
and
well,
if that's the case, and are we figuring what we have to pay to the state on plumbing permits? 'Cause I thought the town only got $2 and the rest of the town went to the state.
That is that's a mistake, Bruce. That 6,000, that was the budgeted figure. The actual figure for 2021 was 12,195.
That was after the state fees.
No, that's just the total amount that was collected by the town.
When we cash receipt a plumbing permit, it
Yeah.
automatically splits up the 25% into another account, 75% into another.
What was that number?
It was 12,195.
So the bottom line then under 2021 actual will become 20,682. And I just want to double check my numbers here because I was short 15,000. 731, 395. And plumbing fees. Our building permit, 8250. No, I've got too much. So if we take 11,585 and we add 8250 for the building permits, correct? Are we adding that?
That's correct.
Okay. That leaves 19,835, so that number there is correct. But then if we add 731,395, that equals 751,230 instead of 742,980.
Okay, you lost me. So you added 19,835 to what?
The 19,835 to the 731 that we're looking to raise and appropriate.
Oh, no, so that's the mistake in the caption. So once you add the building fees in there, that 731 should be 727,980. But then you increase that by another $100 to raise for the town's story. So it should be 720, actually, it should be 728,08.
Okay, so we are raising and appropriating 728,080.
No, $100 more than that, since we just raised the.
Right, so if the bottom line is
So-
727, then it went to 7, no,
The 500's already in there.
728,080.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, Carol, I'm sorry, I scratched through it, so yeah, so 727,980, that is correct. So 727,980 minus 19,835 leads to the funding for property taxes of 708,145.
Right.
Okay.
So it's the caption that is incorrect as opposed to the 2022 proposed top.
So are these numbers up here, right?
These numbers up here are right,
Okay.
Yeah.
except we're adding, if the town will appropriate 11, so the article will read, Article 18, to see if the town will appropriate $11,585 from plumbing fees and 8,250 from building permit fees and raise and appropriate 731,395 for a total of
No,
742,980.
Melanie, that appropriate, raise and appropriate 708,145.
708,145.
For a total of 727,980.
Right.
All right, just so you know, if I vote for this thing with the $6,000 in there for the CEO software, it doesn't mean I want you to go out and buy that software right now.
No.
I'm not sold on it yet.
No, I understand that you guys want a demonstration. I talked to the vendor this past week, and he's happy to do a demonstration, and they have been in business for 20 years.
Okay. Phew. Everybody has the correct numbers now?
And by the way, I wouldn't go and do that until after the voters have approved this budget.
Yeah, well, even if they approve it, until we decide we really want it.
I understand.
We want it in there so we can do it. We don't necessarily know if we want to.
Okay.
Right, well, and what about this flexible spending account?
That one, I would just not worry about it this year.
Yes.
We're too far into the thing.
Well, and there was only one employee who was really interested in having a flexible spending.
Okay. All right. So Ricky,
Got to unmute myself. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Barbara,
yes,
Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
all right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee. Yes. I've got 5 yes, 1 abstention.
Okay, article number 19, to see if the town will appropriate 17,294 in non-tax revenue and raise and appropriate 375,731 for public safety, for a total of 393,025 as follows. With any unexpected balance from the fire and rescue department budget lapsing into its equipment capital reserve. 2022 proposed emergency management director. We're gonna,
That's when we gotta bump up $200.
so we're gonna bump that one to 500. So we're gonna change the overall amount up there to
Just
393,
125,
225.
125, right?
Two, because if we're gonna go to 500 on all of them, we're gonna go from 300 to 500 on that one.
Oh, okay, you've got your health officer that you've got to bump up to.
Yep, and then fire and rescue department, 325,125, municipal streetlights, 1,500. Animal control officer, 13,200. Health officer, that one's gonna go to 500.
So that makes it
And-
325 on the other one.
Yep, so 325. And dispatch, 52,500 for a total of 393, 325.
Is Rome paying nothing for firefighter contribution?
Oh,
I thought we were talking about increasing, the possibility of increasing.
Bruce.
Basically on that, Jack, is when we have to budget for it, 100% of that amount, because we don't know what vote Rome's gonna vote. So we have to fund it, and then, so next year, you'll see the Rome portion of it on next year's budgetary stuff.
that's what they did last year. didn't they?
Oh, okay.
Should we take out town of Rome firefighter contribution? Because there's none,
Well, if you do that, it will change the budgeted and the actual.
oh, the budget and the actual, okay.
Okay, so the Belgrade, funding from non-property tax sources, Belgrade Regional Health Center gift of 0, town of Rome firefighter contribution 0, fire department cost recovery revenue 15,294. Transfer from the undesignated fund 0. Dog fees 2,000 for a total of 17,294 from non-property tax sources. Funding from property taxes will be 370.
376,031.
31.
What was the Belgrade Regional Health Center gift?
Okay.
That was 2,000, there was 10,000 and now it's 0. Is that?
That was a one-time contribution for the new expanded fire and rescue.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the updated total amount is 17,294 in non-tax revenue, raise and appropriate 376,031 for a total of, will be bigger than 393, right? 393, 325. All right, Carol,
Yes,
Barbara,
yes,
Dan,
Yes.
Ricky,
So why did that number change?
because we increased the health officer and the emergency management director to the same amount.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay, so is that a yes from you? Okay, 5 yeses, 0 no's.
Budget committee?
Yes.
5, 1 abstention.
Okay, Article 20, to see if the town will establish a fire and rescue communication and equipment tower fund and appropriate $10,000 to the fund from the undesignated fund. Unexpected balances in the fund would remain in the fund for future use. correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we have a fund set up and all we're doing is renaming the fund?
You talking about, yeah, we did have one back in 2016, 2017. It disappeared.
Okay,
So now we're recreating it.
So-
putting it in there.
I knew there was something there, if we were reestablishing or if we could
Right.
suck anything back.
Okay, one other question. Rome has been paying money into this
Yeah.
every year, so where's that money been going?
I talked to the auditors about it, and it sounds like once this audit's done, she's gonna pull that, since 2017, I think it was, she's just gonna pull that out of the thing, because there was somebody's designated to go into that account.
So that number will look a little bit different. Okay, Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Ricky,
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee,
Yes.
Yes.
5, 1 abstention.
All right,
Who's gonna take all the questions on that particular article? Because
Jay,
I don't think a lot of people know anything about it. It's,
Well, we are going to be speaking to that in the fire department report, in the annual report period, and in the next time.
all right, Public Works, shall the town approve the following? This is the paving.
Don't have the warrant article, how can you approve it?
It's in your, I put it in front of you. Right?
So Article 21, shall the town of Belgrade approve a capital project consisting of road rehabilitation and paving of certain town roads to include but not limited to the depot and Gupta roads and include transaction costs and other expenses reasonably related thereto. 2, appropriate the sum of up to $850,000 to fund the project. 3, authorize the town treasurer and the chair of the select board to issue general obligation securities of the town, including temporary notes in anticipation of the sale thereof, and an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $850,000 to fund the appropriation. And 4, delegate to the treasurer and to the chair of the select board the authority and discretion to fix the dates, maturities, interest rates, denominations, calls for redemption with or without premium, form and other details of said securities, including authority to execute and deliver the securities on behalf of the town. So total town indebtedness, outstanding principal balance of bonds previously issued, $380,955.76. Bonds authorized and unissued, 0. Anticipated amount of bonds to be issued, $850,000 for a total amount of $1 million.
Wait a minute now, we're not doing this the way we've done it for the last 6 years. But in the past 2 3-year programs, we've raised and appropriated about a third of the money in the first year. And we've only borrowed for the last 2 years.
Right.
Now we're borrowing all of the money.
I didn't think that's how we had left that. I thought we were gonna bond the last 2
Yes.
years.
And so this is what Bernstein sure sent me, so Lee Bragg worked on this year as he has the past few years, and so, but I do believe Jack is right on that.
What's wrong?
So now what do we do?
Prove it the way it is.
Well,
We should be raising around $300,000,
right.
Right.
borrowing
If you took,
$600,000.
if you took 850, divided it by 3, so that would yield $283,333. That would be raised and appropriated.
Right.
Let me grab the 2018 report.
We probably should get rid of that bold type of article, because we've never done any other articles that had bold, breaking them out. in sections,
Right.
So we keep things the same.
All right, so I'm gonna take a motion that we table Article 21 while Anthony collects the 2018.
Making that change.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Ricky? Barbara?
yes,
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. Let's table that one. So we're going to move on to Article 22, to see if the town will raise and appropriate $558,494 for public works as follows, with any unexpended balance lapsing into the roads capital reserve. General road maintenance, 2022 proposed is $155,675. Plowing and sanding, $297,819. Sand and salt, $101,000 even. Funding from non-property tax sources, transfer from the undesignated fund of 0, transfer from the roads capital reserve of 0. So funding from non-property tax sources would be 0. Funding from property taxes, $554,494. Those amounts don't jive.
Top one, bottom one, so.
So do you know which one it is, Nick?
I'm gonna find out right now.
Yeah.
The 554494 is what I got.
It's a typo.
554. Okay, so that amount total is changed to 554,494 for public works. Dan,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Keith?
Yep.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee,
Yes,
Yes.
5, 4, 1 abstention.
And in the article, number 22 that we just did, there's the number up on in the article is 554, not 558.
All right, I'm gonna skim down just to get us through 24, and then we'll come back to this one. Article 22, do you favor creating the Belgrade Water District?
this is. 19
Carol?
Yes.
2018.
Barbara?
yes,
Vicky?
Are you in favor of this? No, I'm not.
Okay, Dan?
Yes.
All right, 4 yeses, 1 no. Article 24, to see if the town will authorize the board of select persons to negotiate and execute a contract with the Maine Department of Transportation for the construction and operation of a public water system to serve the salt contaminated area generally bounded by Route 27, Route 135, and Routes 8 and 11. And we
Yes.
have,
Can I
an
ask a question on that one?
sure,
This one doesn't have a budget committee recommendation. I guess my concern is it seems like it's a blank check. I mean, I would think of it at least say not to exceed figure. To me, it just seems like a blanket authorization.
it is.
Well, you
That's
have to
the reality
negotiate
of it.
contract.
Yeah, we don't have.
Right.
We don't know
We
how
don't-
long they're gonna be at this point. They're gonna negotiate. All they're doing is telling the town they're gonna negotiate a contract on this, which has to be done.
Well, devil's advocate, I mean, you could do the whole process here, and just authorize the select board to basically, operate to the best of their ability.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there needs to be another line in this article, after the negotiations with the final amount coming back to be voted on by the town.
So we also have a suggestion, then I'll get to you, Jack. Carol made a suggestion, if we change the wording of the article to see if the town will authorize the board of select persons to negotiate and execute a contract with the Maine Department of Transportation to remedy the salt contaminated properties generally bounded by Route 27, Route 135, and Routes 8 and 11, which may include the construction and operation of a public water system.
Which I don't have a problem with that.
My thought on that was if the state comes back and decides they don't want to do it, then we have to go back to the voters. This allows us to not have to go back to the voters and save us a step. So,
I don't have a problem with that, but like I said, I think that we need to add a line at the bottom with the negotiated price to be able to come back to the voters for final approval.
Could you say which include construction of a public water system subject to approval of the voters?
Well, I mean, even if we have to buy the property, it's still gonna have to be. And, you know,
Right, but if we just put
whatever,
in
whatever the negotiated,
thing is, it's got to go back
it's
to the
gonna have to
vote.
go back to the voters.
So if we just add, subject to the approval of the voters, then that tells them we're coming back to them, gives us authorization to negotiate.
That's a really long sentence.
I just.
I'm just trying to think if we change,
Deciding to spend tons of money without the final number going back to the voters somehow.
right, so I'm thinking we need, instead of just adding a clause, if we add a sentence. Jack?
The question, the way this is worded is that the area that's affected by this is bounded by Route 27, 135, and Routes 8 and 11.
And it says
That's
generally,
Generally.
Generally.
Just within the triangle.
No, it's generally, that's why it says generally. That's where most of the contamination is.
Okay, but does that take care of the, say, the Endicott property and the properties on the south side of Route 27?
It should,
It
because
gives you
how
a little
we
bit
had
of
Should,
worded
'cause
it
it's-
was that it was a previously
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of
identified.
vagueness, so that,
I think generally bounded allows for that
Okay,
fluidity.
okay.
Because remember the map that they gave us, two of the things weren't
off of
on,
Depot Road. I mean,
right,
Yeah.
weren't on there.
So are 23 and 24 town-wide districts?
No, just for that small clump of people.
Okay, do they understand that? Because now the way I understand districts is they're the ones that are gonna be paying for it.
Taxpayers are gonna pay for it.
Well, when you create a district, the people within that district are the ones that pay for it.
Well, I think you're gonna charge them over time for that water, I think.
We're gonna charge them, but they're
That's
not,
the
they're not
idea.
gonna be paying for all of it.
No,
The whole town.
They're not gonna pay
this was a
for
town and
inspection.
state problem that we're trying to mitigate, or they're trying to mitigate.
So are 23 and 24 tied together?
Yes, we had to go to the state legislature at the end of last session to get permission to create a water district. So we have to have the authorization for the town to create it before we can negotiate with the state on possibly building this water system.
So has anybody done a projection on what they think this is gonna cost over time?
Yeah,
Yes,
they have.
Do we have that?
not right here. But we do have
It was
it, and we can
approximately
get you
$15,000
that.
to $25,000 a year, depending.
That's to operate the water district.
That's
the
what
state
that's what
building the
state
water-
building it and turning it over to us.
Yeah, the
So
state
they're gonna
builds the
pay for
water
the
system.
construction?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they don't want to be involved. They don't want to be in the water business, so they'll build it, give it to us, and we have to operate it. And it was gonna cost, what, 2 million, approximately 2 million.
Yeah, and then they thought the costs were gonna go up.
2.2.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to push us to get this on the warrant this year.
Yeah, districts tend to get expensive over time, so.
Yeah, well, we've been dealing with
Main rural
main
water
rural
association.
water. And talking to them, actually, we're actually probably even having them bid on running it for us. And they're giving us numbers what they're charging other towns. so.
And how about the depreciation on the equipment? Because it's gonna get old eventually, and it's gonna have to be replaced. Is that $25,000 or whatever it is include?
We don't really know at this point.
We're not there yet.
We're not
These
to that
pumps
point.
aren't cheap.
Yeah,
Yes, I
I
know
mean,
the pump alone is about $20,000 just for the pump.
basically, we have to get the approval and the authority to negotiate it, and then we'll come back and have all of that kicked out in pricing it.
All right,
In Augusta, they go through one about every 2 years. They don't run their wells.
So,
But
so
look how much
back
they're
to this,
pumping.
do we just need to say,
Depends on.
Uh,
Facility.
any contract will be approved by the voters, or we'll come back to the voters for approval, whatever wording is.
Yeah, how do we want to word that? So if we,
I just want to say subject to voter approval.
so let me take a quick vote and see if everybody's comfortable with us changing the wording of Article 24 to reflect Carol's suggestion. So the suggestion would be to change it to see if the town will authorize the Board of Select Persons to negotiate and execute a contract with the Maine Department of Transportation to remedy the salt contaminated properties generally bounded by Route 27, Route 135, and Routes 8 and 11, which may include the construction and operation of a public water system. And then what
I'm a yes.
would our next line be?
Well-
We may as well just do the whole thing.
Oh,
Um,
my suggestion is subject to voter approval.
Well, I think you gotta have voter approval before you can spend that kind of money anyways. I mean, you
Right,
can't-
it's just so it's in there.
Right.
So can you read that again, Melanie?
Yeah, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Select Persons to negotiate and execute a contract with the Maine Department of Transportation to remedy the salt contaminated properties generally bounded by Route 27, Route 135, and Routes 8 and 11, which may include the construction and operation of a public water system.
It's in your little box here.
Pardon me, but if you execute the contract.
Yeah, we gotta get that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as I said that out loud that time, I was like, wait a minute. To negotiate a contract. And then the final line could be execution of the contract between the town of Belgrade and Maine DOT would be subject to voter approval.
It's fine.
Does
That
that
works
sound
for me.
okay?
Yeah.
That works. Okay, so that is the motion on the table. Carol says yes. Dan,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yeah, I'll go along with it.
Barbara?
Yes,
Okay, so 5 yeses to change.
Can you actually read the whole thing now?
Sure. Did anybody write down what we said? Execution of the, okay, I'm gonna give that part to
Yeah,
you.
after what's in the comment box there, the next sentence would read, execution of a contract between the town of Belgrade and DOT would be subject to voter approval.
And we're gonna strike out the and execute in the first part of it. To negotiate a contract with Maine DOT.
Okay, so Article 24 now reads, see if the town will authorize the Board of Select Persons to negotiate a contract with the Maine Department of Transportation to remedy the salt contaminated properties generally bounded by Route 27, Route 135, and Routes 8 and 11, which may include the construction and operation of a public water system. Execution of the contract between the town of Belgrade and Maine DOT will be subject to voter approval.
With the questions they had on, Jack had on, we said generally would cover it. I'm just wondering if we should put generally bounded but not limited to. That way it really spells it out. It's not necessarily limited to the stuff in the triangle.
But do we want to have it because it was previously identified?
Well, we're still doing it here because of the salt contamination, so.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just not limited to one side of the road. Because down the road, we could add 3 more properties if the salt goes that way. even better.
So we would change that to just read to remedy the salt contaminated properties, which may include the construction and operation of a public water system.
No, I mean, I don't have a problem with what's just here, just adding after generally bounded,
Bounded, but not
by,
limited
but
to.
not limited to Route 27.
So you guys negotiate when they're building the system, if voters approve it, you guys need to negotiate that they put a line across 27 when they're doing the construction originally, just have it dead ended.
Well, they're gonna have to have some houses over there, 'cause some of them were up there in the salt anyway, so you're gonna have a line across. And they know, part of the negotiations, they already know if something else comes from that same contamination, they're still responsible for adding in stuff. We've already talked about that.
Oh, so if we're comfortable with the wording on Article 24. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Ricky,
Yes,
Dan?
Yes,
All right, 5 yeses, 0 nos. All right, I'll take a motion to untable Article 21.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, Carol,
Yes.
Ricky. Just for untabling.
sorry, yes.
Ricky, Barbara,
yes,
Dan?
yes.
All right, 5 yeses. Okay,
So I did some quick calculations here on the sheet that I just had everyone pass around. It's Article 24 from back in 2019. The appropriation, the second bullet there, appropriate $882,000, including cost of financing to fund the project as follows. And then it would be to raise $283,333. Excuse me, raise $286,083, 286,083. So that would be 283, and then in parentheses, 283,333 for direct cost of the road project. That represents 1/3 of the total $850,000 cost. And $2,750 for legal fees through taxation. So that would be to raise and appropriate in 2022. And then obtain up to, and here would be the balance minus that 283,333, $566,667 from the proceeds of a loan or bond on terms deemed appropriate by the town treasurer and the board. And then the next bullet, authorize the town treasurer and the board. That figure of the sale, therefore, in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $566,667. Then the next bullet would not change. You would remove the note beneath that.
all right. Do you mind just running those numbers right down again?
Yeah, because I only got one of them.
So,
Okay, so on the second bullet, you would appropriate $882,000.
Instead of 850, it's 882.
Yes, because that includes the
Legal
interest cost.
So 882 what?
Just.
882 even.
$882,000 even.
Costs of financing. Okay, from the project.
And then
Okay,
the second amount in that top thing
So-
goes from
so then-
850 to 566, 667.
So then the third bullet, Dan, where it says raise 402,000, you would change that to raise 286,083. And then in parentheses, it would be
Say 400.
this was a 2018 article that we had the lawyers approval, so we are overriding what they did.
Okay, so we're putting on to the article.
Yeah. Okay, what was the second? So raise 286,083.
correct. And then in parentheses, it'd be $283,333 for direct cost of the road project. And $2,750 for legal.
Okay,
Then the next bullet, obtain up to $566,667 from the proceeds of a loan or bond on terms deemed appropriate by the town treasurer. The next bullet begins, authorize the town treasurer. When you get down to the last line, it would be principal amount not to exceed $566,667. The next bullet would remain the same. You would remove the note beneath that. And then you would replace the financial statement below that with what Bernstein Sure provided us today.
So 380, 55, 76.
Just one question on the legal fees.
But the anticipated amount of the bonds amount would differ, because it wouldn't be 850,000, because we'd be bonding
yes, you're right. It would be
566.
566, 667.
67. And Bruce,
So the legal fees, if I heard it right, was $2,500 for legal fees, correct?
2750.
$2,750. So this legal fee does not count with the contract.
It's not, so bonding services is not part of the in-house fixed fee legal contract.
Okay. We ready? I'm gonna read Article 21. Okay, Article 21, we'll read, shall the town of Belgrade approve a capital project consisting of road improvement and paving as proposed by the Board of Select Persons and on the terms that the board deems appropriate as detailed below. Appropriate $882,000, including the cost of financing, to fund the project as follows. We should have those next bullets should be bopped in a little bit, because we have the as follows, and then if we. So raise $283,333 for direct costs of the road project. And I can't read, $2,750 for legal fees through taxation. Next bullet is obtain up to $566,667 from the proceeds of a loan or bond on terms deemed appropriate by the town treasurer and the board. Authorize the town treasurer and the board to issue general obligation securities of the town, including temporary notes, in anticipation of the sale thereof, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $566,667 to partially fund the appropriation. Delegate to the town treasurer and the board the authority and discretion to fix the dates, maturities, interest rates, denominations, calls for redemption with or without premium, form and other details of said securities, including authority to execute and deliver the securities on behalf of the town. Financial statement. Total town indebtedness, outstanding balance of bonds previously issued, $380,955.76. Bonds authorized and unissued, 0. Anticipated amount of the bonds to be issued is $566,667. The validity of the bonds and voters' ratification of the bond may not be affected by any errors in the above estimates. The ratification by the voters is nonetheless conclusive, and the validity of the bonds are not affected by reason of the variance. And
Doesn't this financial statement apply to the total indebtedness of the town? And doesn't the town have some indebtedness with the sand salt building?
It does not. The only debt that we currently have is on this building.
How about the tan?
Tan's paid.
Paid for.
so that being said, do we have an article for raising and appropriating 380,000? No, what's our total amount we need to raise? 286,083. So are we covered by having that in this article? Because we were covered before, we had that amount in there under the raise, so we should be all set for raising. So should we be raising and appropriating?
Do we have the 882,000 or whatever it is sitting around somewhere? Because if we have it, we can just appropriate it.
Well, we're appropriating the total amount. So all
We're
of
only
Yes, so the
raising
total
1 year.
amount's the 882 for the whole project. And we're raising and appropriating. How would we do that, Anthony?
I think that so that second bullet is talking about the total cost of the project, the $882,000. And then after that, it's a breakdown of how much of that would be raised through taxation, that's the third bullet, and how much of it would be raised through finance, which is the fourth bullet. So I think, like you said, Melanie, if you indent those bullets, it shows that that's sort of part and parcel of the second bullet.
Okay. Now, although I won't throw anything into the mix, but if we raise and appropriate 286,083, does that put our bottom line over the LD1 limit? Because right now we were at 55,000, right?
I'm going to say that yes, that probably be the case.
I think it will be. All right,
Nick, when you did your calculations, did you include the total cost of the paving project?
When I give the calculations to you, they included 300,000.
300,000, that's right. And that was, oh, so no, it wouldn't. Right, because when we calculated the LD1, it was based on paying $300,000 the first year.
And we're only gonna pay
286.
286.
Well, it's 300,000 minus the local road bond.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
it would be like 250,
So,
260 something.
so we could actually reduce the amount that we would have to tax the first year by
46.
46,504, which is the amount for our local road assistance program.
so instead of raising 286,083, would be raising that amount minus 46,504.
That's correct. So we would include that figure in. So that would be 239,579,
239,979.
239,579.
Which number are we changing now?
We are changing the raise to 239,079. And do we need to account for the 46,504 in
Yeah,
this
so
article?
I would probably add another bullet that would say appropriate $46,504 in local road assistance program funds.
What are those numbers again, Anthony?
46. So it would be to appropriate $46,504 in local road assistance program funds.
All right. Does everybody have the numbers? All right, seeing yes. Carol?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we need one.
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
All right,
Budget
5
committee, yes.
Yes, 5 yes, 1 abstention.
All right, so 5 and 0, 5 and 1 abstention. All right. All right, moving along to
25.
number 25. Looking for 25. I have some stuff out of my book here. All right, to see if the town will raise and appropriate up to $5,000 for pedestrian crossing infrastructure and signage to reduce vehicular speed in the village. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan,
No.
Ricky,
Budget committee?
oh, hold on, I wasn't done.
Oh, sorry.
All right, 1, 2, I'll say yes to that. So 3 yeses, 2 nos. Okay, now you
Budget
can go.
committee, any yeses? No yeses, all no.
All right, Article 26, to see if the town will appropriate $9,938 in income from the cemetery portfolio and raise and appropriate $13,737 for a total of $23,675 for maintenance of the cemeteries as follows. 2022 proposed total is $23,675, funding from non-property tax sources, transfer from the cemetery trust income, $9,938, funding from property taxes, $13,737. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses, 0 nos.
Are you ready?
Ready
Budget
now.
committee,
Yes.
5 yes, 1 abstention.
All right, facilities and grounds, Article 27, to see if the town will appropriate $1,378 from the library mowing contract and raise and appropriate $300,357 for a total of $301,735 for the maintenance of facilities and grounds as follows.
Melanie, before you get too deeply into that, turn the page, there's a comment on the next page about the permanent or non-property task forces. We could reduce the tax burden by using some of the, Nick, is it 60 or 80,000 now that we think we have in the
Facilities.
facility fund?
Yeah, right around 60.
Okay, so we have about 60 in the facilities fund. That is replenished with Dalton revenue, Dalton rental revenue of about $20,000 annually. So again, we could use a portion of that $60,000 just to help reduce the level of taxation to support facility maintenance.
And that money is in the facilities capital reserve, correct?
It's in the facilities fund.
All right, what's your
So
pleasure?
it's not a capital reserve account, it's just a designated fund.
So if there's 60,000 in there now and you're anticipating $20,000 over the year, what happens if a tree falls to the roof down there? Or wipe that fund out within anticipating replenishing that?
Well, if a tree fell through it, I think our insurance would probably.
Insurance should pay it.
So somebody cut a tree down. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, what if something happens? Do you really want to be down to 0? When you're
No,
anticipating-
I'm not suggesting you take it down to 0 at all. I'm just suggesting that if you want to reduce the amount of tax dollars to support facility maintenance, 60,000 is a pretty healthy balance for that fund.
Mhm.
It's going to be $80,000 by this time next year if we don't use any of it. And so, if you want to reduce the level of taxation, that's an option for doing.
Right,
so.
and I don't have a problem using some of it, but I don't think I want to take
Oh,
60,000.
no, I wouldn't want to deplete the fund at all.
What if we move 40 over, and if nothing happens by this time next year, we'd have 40 left? We'd have 20 plus the 20 that comes in.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem just keeping it at $20,000
Yeah.
every year.
So that would mean move 40 now. And then we'd have,
20 left in the.
and we've got
account,
enough
and then
other expenses. It's a way to help a little.
You comfortable with 40?
Yeah, like I said, as long as you get some money left in there, if something happens, like
Yeah.
put a furnace or.
I say, but one of the Dalton properties is getting close to needing a heating system, so.
And what's the front, what's the heat, what would a heating system cost?
Probably that one would be about 6,800.
Oh, so we still have plenty. If we left money, we'd have plenty to work with.
And Nick, what were you
I
gonna
was gonna
say?
say it's closer to 47 in that Dolphin account.
Okay, so then why don't we take 20?
What,
Comes with 20, so there's 47 in that. account,
47,
not
and then maybe
60.
we take 35, that still leaves us 12 plus 20 going in.
I'd say 30.
All right, 30 going once,
I'm fine with 30.
Yeah, 30 sounds good.
30. Ricky, you okay with 30?
Oh,
Hmm? What'd you say, Rick?
I said, sure.
So funding from property taxes then would go to 270,357, but that does not include cleaning up the gym floor. And it's multiple weekly cleanings during summer camp.
So the cleaning of the gym floor would cost $1,000 at the most, according to the May for you.
Oh, well, she wanted to wash that floor, but I was under the understanding a gazillion years ago when we built that and put that floor in, that it was not to be washed traditionally. So she had asked me that if she could, and I said, oh, hell to the no. I said, we need to go back to find out what it is we need to do for that floor. It can't just be traditionally mopped, I don't believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's been mocked all these years.
Yeah, it's just light mopping. I'm not
Right.
sure what they want to do to it.
Right,
I mean, there's certain things you're supposed to do to it every once in a while.
Right. I'm supposed to have a treatment put on it yearly, but I don't think it's ever been done.
I don't think it has been, which is the other thing. I worried about if we put chemicals or something down on it, if it's gonna degrade that rubberized floor.
Right, so say it's supposed to be treated yearly. I know that.
So one option then is, let's not do anything now. Let's do some research and find out what needs to be done to that floor. And we've always got the capital reserve available if we want to do something with that. And I think we're projecting that, and these are unaudited numbers, but our best projection is that capital reserve will be a little over $100,000.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and is there something in there too about a floor cleaner? Because there was discrepancy and there was a $900 one that someone had found and a $6,000.
Yeah, well, and again, that could be a capital cost as well, since you're purchasing a piece of equipment.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about that in here. And what about the weekly cleanings during summer camp? Would that be like on Wednesday, somebody comes in and cleans up and then you have the regular weekly?
If we wanted to do that, I mean, we had also talked about ensuring that that's, that we'd have the maid service come in once a week, but we would also have those camp counselors lead on a
Right,
regular
yeah.
basis. I think that's a reasonable approach.
I do too.
You gonna sign a contract with these people?
But we have to put it out to RFP first.
Is it, so it will be a contract?
Because the value would be well in excess of 15,000.
Contract will say you can, either party can discontinue the contract for no particular reason?
Usually there's a in writing clause.
Yeah,
Mm.
discontinue it in writing.
Right. Usually it's.
I mean, you're gonna get somebody, whoever it is, see how they do, and then make sure you have an out if you want them out of there. It's pretty simple to do.
Right, I was questioning whether or not we were changing the bottom line if we were gonna figure in a weekly cleaning. So is there anything else that anybody sees that needs to go into this? So the custodial position is removed. Cleaning services for the various facilities, the uranium filtration system, and cleaning services for the fire station. The porta potty increase,
How long is our fuel contract for a fuel price held for? Fuel oil, yeah. heating oil.
I think, Bruce, I think it was just for 1 year, just because the market's so volatile.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the
That's
select
usually what they
board's
do.
recollection of our contract with the
yeah, and I know sometimes they cap the amount, but I don't recall Paul having capped the amount with us. I think what he did was he allowed the town to buy in under the contract as if we were purchasing much more fuel than we are.
So I guess knowing that and knowing how much fuel's already gone up so far, and it's looking like it's gonna go up more, are we comfortable with them numbers of the increase of fuel price? Because I can, probably what you guys got this year for Augusta fuel, probably is gonna double for next year. Just wanted to throw it out there.
Thanks for that fly, Bruce.
Sorry.
Right in the ointment.
Or as I saw, because I got my old bill, and I know it went up over $1 a gallon in less than a month, so. I guarantee you that the town's is gonna double, because they gotta make it up somewhere.
Well, I walked my in basically, I'm on a yearly budget, I pay the same amount every month, basically. Had to pay upfront premium costs.
I mean, we budgeted 7,000 for all seasons for heat.
And what was their actual last year, this year?
7,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, guys?
Back all these categories and run some new numbers, it's gonna do that while we're working on this other stuff.
How
'Cause
much more increase by, like 10% or 50% on each heating line item?
Probably at least 50.
50% on what we have initial.
Yeah, 'cause if we're budgeting basically what we paid this year. you can see.
Can we
We'll see.
table this one while Nick computes it and
Yeah.
keep moving?
So I'm sorry, did y'all say 50%?
50%.
50.
Yeah, that's on.
That'd be my recommendation.
Question.
Yeah,
Is there an opportunity in any of the buildings to add heat pumps through capital expenditure and reduce the operating costs?
well, the problem is that the cost of electricity standard offer went up 15%, and then they raised the rate. Was it 12% in the fall, so that we're looking at. That's already gonna be a chunk up of the electricity.
How about we get potentially Efficiency Maine or one of the other contractors to give us an estimate as far as what the real savings and what the cost would be.
What does the state use in their long-term budget? And they must be faced with exactly the same problem, both in fuel and electricity, so.
Call DOT, they'll tell you. Theoretically, it's supposed to wind up ahead.
I think heat pumps may or may not make sense, but that's sort of down the road for tonight's discussion. I would think that we look at it, explore it. We find out it's a really good deal, then we could go back into it, but to be able to do that and make an evaluation tonight,
Well,
I think
agree,
it's-
not a
yeah.
discussion for-
I think it's worth looking at.
All right, so I'm gonna take a motion that we table Article 27 to allow Nick the opportunity to recalculate these numbers.
Second,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? I'll do a show. of
What's the
hands.
Yeah,
time
okay.
fuse on this?
Tonight,
What's the time fuse on this, getting it done and getting the warrant?
tonight.
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 That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll come back to this one.
we're gonna come back to it tonight. All right, Article 28, to see if the town will appropriate $30,000 from the anticipated revenue from solid waste operations and raise and appropriate $298,500 for a total request of $328,500. Funding from non-property tax sources, solid waste revenue, 30,000, solid waste capital reserve, 0, for a total of 30,000. Funding from property taxes, 298,500. Dan,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Vicky?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee,
Yes.
5 yes, 1 abstention.
Okay, Article 29, to see if the town will appropriate up to $59,000 from the solid waste capital reserve to purchase a replacement skid steer at the transfer station. The current skid steer will be repurposed for the facilities maintenance department, negating the cost of a rental. Can we put that in there? Is that like explanatory?
I don't know. I mean, out of an abundance of caution, we could just take it out.
Choose probably, and choose to pay through the capital reserve or not require voter approval.
So, guess I'm kind of confused. I thought that was coming out of the undesignated.
Well, there's a couple different ways, Bruce, to skin that cat. You could take it out of the undesignated fund, and so that means we would move less money from the undesignated fund into the solid waste capital reserve, or you could do it this way, or you could raise and appropriate. So there's really 3 different options, I think, for doing that.
Because currently, when I'm looking at the capital reserve, granted, I know it's not the audit numbers, but there's only 53,000 in the capital reserve as of right now, solid waste. There's no 59.
Right, and that's a good point. I mean, I guess I was sort of anticipating that the voters would approve moving money from the undesignated fund to the capital reserve. But I think you raised a good point. Maybe it's better to either, if we're not going to raise and appropriate, just take it directly from the undesignated fund. And then you could reduce the amount that we're going to move from the undesignated fund into the solid waste capital reserve.
I guess it'd be, maybe it's, I
No,
think it's cleaner.
Yeah, I think you
Numbers,
raised,
isn't it?
I think you raised a good point.
Okay, so we're gonna change Article 29 to say, to see if the town will appropriate up to $59,000 from the undesignated fund
Yes.
to purchase a replacement skid steer at the transfer station. Is everybody comfortable with that?
I am.
Are you sure that price is right for that skid steer?
Yes, sir. We just, Kenny initially got a cost estimate, and then he got us another one even more recently, just to ensure that that was a good figure.
Is comparing apples to apples?
Apples, apples, that was, and he got a price from Cat, John Deere, and Bobcat.
Oh, they must have gone down.
It's the municipal deal that makes it cheaper than everybody else's.
You still pay the big bucks.
We can buy 2 and sell you 1 for a little bit more.
All right, let's start with Barbara.
yes,
Ricky?
On the rewording that you suggested?
Yep.
Yes.
And Carol
Yes.
and Dan.
Yes.
Budget committee,
Yes.
yes, 5 yes, 1 abstention.
All right, Article 30, to see if the town will appropriate $8,524 from the library capital reserve and raise and appropriate $93,501 for library services as follows, with any unexpected balance lapsing into the library capital reserve. 2021 budget was 82,094, 21 actual 73,588, 2022 proposed 102,025. Funding from non-property tax sources 8524 from the library capital reserve, funding from property taxes 93,501. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Vicky? Are you nodding?
Said yes.
Okay, sorry, we didn't hear you. You were quiet
I
on
know.
this.
Well, I mumbled a little.
Yes.
Dan?
Budget committee,
Yes,
Yes.
make that 6 yes.
Okay. Article 31, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Select Persons to enter into a one-year contract with the Friends of the Belgrade Public Library for up to $3,000 to be paid by the Friends to the town for plowing and mowing services to be performed by the town at the library property on the Depot Road. Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Ricky,
Yeah,
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. And Article 32, to see if the town, recreation, to see if the town will appropriate 60,000 from anticipated recreation revenue and raise and appropriate 130,625 for recreation services, with any unexpected balance lapsing into the recreation capital reserve. Total amount for 2022 proposed is 190,625. So funding from non-property tax sources, recreation revenue, we took that 60,000 out of there. And funding from property taxes for 130,625. How much is in the recreation revenue? Oh, that's just taking it. So we generated 61 and we're comfortable with appropriating 60. Yeah. All right, Dan,
Yes.
Ricky,
yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Carol.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee,
yes,
6 yes and 5 yes. 5 and an abstention.
No.
Oh, he just put his hand up.
Did he
Yeah,
make it 6?
5. No,
I'm
No,
good at 6.
yeah, 5 and 1 abstention.
okay, social services. To see if the town will raise and or appropriate for social services as follows. General assistance, $5,000. Emergency fuel fund, $5,000. Senior resources committee, $2,000. Community event traffic control, $780. Christmas trees, $500, for a total amount of $13,280. Funding from non-property tax sources, transfer from the undesignated fund, $5,000. And the emergency fuel fund of $5,000 for a total of $10,000. Coming from property taxes would be $3,280.
So as my note indicates there, if we think 5,000 is not enough either for general assistance and or emergency fuel fund, we could increase those. We did of the non-tax sources, since we're, taking from the undesignated fund and the emergency fuel fund, which has a very healthy balance right now. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but whenever we have a GA case, the state does reimburse us 70% of whatever we expend on that case.
How much? You got 5,000, so you could go higher. I mean, how much have we actually ever really used?
Well, we used $4,290 this past year.
And how much, but that was after being reimbursed?
No, that's the expense.
Yeah, so I mean, we get reimbursed, so.
Yeah, we got reimbursed 70% of that cost.
You should be fine.
So it looks like we're taking 5,000 from the emergency fuel fund to put into the,
So what doesn't get spent from the emergency fuel fund, and we did check with the auditor on this while she was here last week, stays in that fund. So even though we may designate that because it is a special revenue fund, it doesn't get spent, it stays in that fund
okay,
for future use for that same designated purpose.
okay. All right. Nothing else comments from anyone? Dan,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, 6 yes.
All right, Article 34, to see if the town will authorize
So
this.
if you want to go back to 27 at all?
We will.
Okay.
Yeah, let me skim right on down. Let's go as fast as we can to get through a bunch of them.
Works for me.
To see if the town will authorize the Senior Resource Committee to conduct fundraising to support the operating and programming costs of the committee and to place all proceeds in a special senior fund account to be used toward the benefit of senior program. This article is to remain in effect until changed by a future vote of the town. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Should it say special senior, it says special senior fund, should it say special senior resources fund,
that's what-
to kind of keep
Say
the title and everything together,
special senior, yeah.
and yes, that just should say resources.
I couldn't hear what he said.
So he's just changing to a special senior resources fund account. So just adding that little bit into the name, Rick. All right, so Carol said yes. Sorry,
Yes.
where did I go? Carol, Dan, did I get you, Barbara?
No, but yes.
No, but yes. Ricky?
You
Is it
didn't
a no
get
or
me.
yes?
You didn't get me, but I voted yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, all right, five yeses. Article 35, to see if the town will raise and or appropriate $1,500 to support the Belgrade Senior Volunteer Work Program, which allows seniors 60 and older to earn benefits up to $750, with the benefits to be paid through a tax abatement from the overlay fund toward their property taxes, and to authorize unused funds to be placed in a special reserve account called the Senior Volunteer Work Ordinance Fund. All right, Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes, there's hope for us.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Do we get to vote?
You do.
Budget committee?
Yes.
6.
All right, 6 yeses. Article 36, to see if the town will raise and appropriate 18,168 for Belgrade's share of 2022 operations and maintenance costs of the Village Dam, Wings Mill, and Salmon Lake Dam. 2021 budget was 20,192, 21 actual was 20,192, 2022 proposed is 18,168 with the full funding from the property taxes. Carol,
Yes.
Rick, yes, Barbara,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
all right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee?
Yes.
6 yeses.
6 yeses. Article 37, to see if the town will approve the creation of a dams capital reserve account for infrastructure needs and raise and appropriate $7,200 for the fund, which would represent Belgrade's share 48% of a total 15,000 appropriation, and accept funds for the account from the other participating towns in the interlocal agreement for management of the Belgrade area dams.
Clarification, is that a one-time event or is this going to be yearly?
For creating the account would be a one-time event. Raising and appropriate 7,200 would be for this year. And then
Next year depends on what they
next
ask
year
for.
depends on what the total amount is.
Okay.
All right, Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Ricky,
I guess so. Yeah.
Dan, all right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee?
Yes.
6 yes.
All right, capital reserves. Article 38, to see if the town will appropriate $469,000 from the undesignated fund in the following amounts for the following purposes.
So
We
that
need
will
to add the
change.
59.
Yes, exactly.
So we need to add 59,
No subtract.
subtract 59. So
The
it'd
solid
be,
waste capital reserve, the contribution would be $65,000. That would lower the total amount to $410,000. And I provided copies of this spreadsheet. At the top, the first heading is accounts, and the first line says well contamination. So on the far right-hand side is, again, unaudited figures, but our best calculation of what the balance was as of December 31st for each of these funds.
all right, so any questions on that? We're good, so our total amount instead of 469 is 410,000. 65, right, from the solid waste capital reserve.
Correct.
So then would that make it 404,000 instead of 14?
No, just subtract 59,000 from that bottom figure.
Okay. I was thinking if we're taking 65,000 out from the
So what we're proposing is-
65 is what's
current
left.
balance, never mind, my brain. Sorry. All right, funding from property taxes, 410,000. Dan, Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Vicky.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. And budget committee.
Budget committee? Yes. 5, 1 abstention.
All right, debt service, to see if the town will raise and appropriate 49,893 to fund the 7th year payment on the town office's 13-year bond and 15,000 for interest in the tax anticipation note for a total of 64,893. So 2021 budget was 508,107. 2021 actual was 485,613. 2022 proposed is 64,893. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Barbara.
yes,
All right,
Budget committee?
5 yeses.
6 yes.
6 yeses. All right, trust activities. Article 40, to see if the town will raise, appropriate, authorize, designate, or release the collective sum of $14,642 as dictated by the following trusts and funds. To make available to the principal of Belgrade Central School the interest in the amount of $299 from the Robert A. Guptill Historical Fund for the promotion and association of history. To see if the town will raise and appropriate $957 in property taxes and appropriate $43 from the Don C. Stevens Fund for a total of $1,000 to support an academic award from the town to the highest ranking Belgrade senior graduating in 2022. Authorize the use of the Don C. Stevens Fund for the public schools of Belgrade income in the amount of $14,300 to benefit the public schools of Belgrade. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Lee?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee?
I assume these amounts all represent 90% of the 2021 earnings.
Yes, sir, they do.
Okay, thank you.
5 yes, 1 abstention.
Okay. Additional articles, Article 41, to see if the town will authorize the select board to execute a contract for the construction of a first responders memorial and to raise and appropriate $12,000 to help fund its construction. Or we could appropriate per request.
I thought they had to raise some money first before we do this.
Well, I think there was it $500 was what was raised by the end of the,
We're up over 1,000 now. Last time I saw our last email, I saw go through.
And this request was pretty recent from a couple members of the committee, just ensuring that it was going to be on the warrant.
So we wouldn't be spending the 12,000 if they don't raise their portion, correct?
Well, what is their portion?
Their portion is also 12,000.
12,000.
Yeah, if I remember right,
I
yeah.
think it was half and half.
Because they, but we're not sure what the total cost is gonna be because they had to have $4,000
They
raised
held
by
the-
December
They
31st,
held the
right?
price
They held their price.
for another, I can't remember how long it was. I wasn't at the last meeting, I just was reading the notes. from it.
We want to raise and appropriate. Do we want to appropriate from the undesignated fund?
One-time cost. You know, if they end up raising more than 12, more than half, you don't have to take it out, you only take what you need out of undesignated.
This is kind of a tricky one because it just says to help fund its construction, but we don't have a total dollar amount. What'd you say, Bruce?
I'll see if I can find it in my emails.
Shouldn't it say raise and appropriate an amount not to exceed?
Melanie, this is Jay,
Hey, Jay.
popping in from the West Road. The total is $24,000. The $4,000 was the goal to try and raise by the end of December in order to secure the contract, because we weren't sure what would happen to the prices afterwards. As Bruce said, Provost came back and said the price didn't change. And so that's why the time crunch to get that initial $4,000 has eased. However, it still is the plan to raise half of the funds from private donations to support the half that would come from the town's contribution.
All right, that answered my question. Thanks, Jay. That's what I thought, but want to make sure. Thank
You should still say raise and appropriate up to, but not to exceed $12,000. It says up to, it could be less, and people know it could be less.
And do we want to raise and appropriate or do we want to appropriate?
That I don't want, if we put the money, take it from somewhere, we can just appropriate it. I don't have a problem not raising it.
Well, as Bruce just mentioned, it is a one-time cost, and so that's a good use for a finite resource like the undesignated fund.
Should we have in here what the total amount is going to be? So we have to see if the town will authorize the select board to execute a contract for the construction of a first responders memorial and to appropriate $12,000 from the undesignated fund to help fund its construction. Total amount of the project is $24,000. Does that sound?
But I think if we put up to 12,000, because if they raise 14,000,
Right?
we are going to have, we'll pay less or contribute less.
So to appropriate,
Do you need an expiration date? If they don't raise the 4,000 by X amount or whatever. I mean, you want this on the books for a year, 2 years, 3 years?
Well, unless if all articles are for a year, unless otherwise, explicitly stated.
Okay,
Next year, we'd have to turn around and have an article to carry that money forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue of the $4,000 is gone. That was a one-time thing to try and secure a contract by the end of December. The fact that that time has gone, that number is no longer at play.
okay, so the wording on Article 41 would be to see if the town will authorize the select board to execute a contract for the construction of a first responders memorial and to appropriate up to $12,000 to help fund its construction, semicolon, total cost of project is $24,000.
Did you say from the undesignated fund?
Oh, no, $12,000 from the undesignated fund. Does that sound okay to everyone? All right, Carol,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Rick,
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee,
Yes.
5 yes, 1 abstention.
All right, Article 42, to see if the town will authorize the select board to use money from the undesignated fund to maintain operations at 2021 levels should the voters reject a departmental budget under this warrant until such time as the voters approve a revised budget for the departments at a special town meeting. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Rick,
So what does this mean?
What it means, Rick, is that if a departmental budget gets rejected, then it will allow to continue to spend at 2021 levels until we can bring a revised budget back to the voters to approve in a special town meeting.
Okay,
So it's sort of a fail safe in case a departmental budget is rejected by the voters.
yes, then.
It's like the contingency articles we used to
Correct.
have,
right.
since we don't have the town on the floor.
All right, Barbara,
yes,
all right, 5 yeses.
You have a question over here.
Yeah.
Comment.
Is anybody keeping track of all the impacts to the undesignated fund balance?
Yeah, so last year, Scott, we spent $347,000 from our undesignated fund balance, and it grew by $500,000. And we finished this year in the black with all of our expenditures, and plus our revenues greatly exceeded what we had budgeted. And so we do not have a figure yet from the auditor, but we hope to have that during the next week. But we feel very confident that the undesignated fund balance is going to grow again this year.
So where are you at?
So we were at 3.5 million at the end of last year.
He's like, I'll just put these papers down.
Well, I think there's also a requirement that undesignated fund balance is a certain percentage of your overall budget anyway. So I'm not quite sure where you are there either.
So with the school, with the payments that we make to the school over the course of a year, our total budget is a little bit in excess of $10 million. So, and of course, that fund balance does dwindle because we only collect taxes once a year, which is why we also take out a tax anticipation note just to be on the safe side. But I've spoken with our auditors about it, and they say we're in a very enviable position having a fund balance that's as strong as that.
Right, but 25% of 10 million, which I think is the number. I don't know. I forget what it is in statute. So,
Yeah, and that's about where we bottom out each year. Where we collect our taxes, about $2.5 million.
So, but Anthony, we're not taking a tan out this year.
So what I would propose is we do take a tan out. However, what we do, as is different from years past, is we don't draw from that unless and until we need it. That way, again, there's a fail safe just in case. And we're not drawing any interest cost on that unless we pull it out. I think it'll be a good test for us on sort of whether or not we actually do need the tan. It was something that Jason Simcock from Androscoggin Bank, who is our contact with Androscoggin Bank, he's a former town manager, suggested that it might be smarter for us to just, traditionally, we've taken the whole amount whenever we've gotten the tan, but we do have the option just to draw from it as needed. And that's what we're planning on doing this year, to reduce the interest cost and see how much of a need there is to continue to have a tan.
Do we have an article that gives us permission to take a tan out?
No, we do
Yeah.
$15,000.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's the
yeah,
15.
so it was part of the debt service was the interest on the tan.
and how much is the tan for?
It has traditionally been for $2 million.
All right, Article 43, to see if the town will authorize all town boards, committees, and departments to conduct fundraising to support the ongoing operational and programming costs of their departments and to place all proceeds into their departmental reserve accounts to be used toward the capital and or operating costs of the departments. This article is to remain in effect until changed by a future vote of the town.
I have a question on that.
Yeah,
I guess being from Massachusetts, my reservation is, I don't have a problem with permits and fees. But it almost sounds like if I made a contribution of $10,000 to the planning board, I might get preferential treatment.
well, yeah,
So I'm not sure what the article's addressing.
well, and I think it wasn't necessarily, because it's too blanket of an article for me. And I think we looked at it because we were talking about the first responders memorial and whether or not they could fundraise. And that certain departments in town had permission to fundraise, but not all of them. But I don't think that all the boards and everyone should be able to fundraise.
Well, and I think boards was put in there specifically for the senior resources committee.
But there's a separate article
Understood.
that allows them to
Understood. And
fundraise
so-
and that,
but
and
you're
that
right.
they've made a perpetual article.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I think there have been instances where we all agree it would be nice if the town could actually engage in doing some fundraising to raise some monies for a good cause. But we're restricted from doing that unless the voters have expressly approved that. So
Why do you need boards to do it?
I think it competes with private organizations that are doing fundraising personally.
So, because we have right now, the library committee can fundraise, the recreation committee can fundraise. The senior resources committee will be able to fundraise. The fire association can fundraise. Is there anyone else?
yeah, and of course, the
Right.
fire association is not part of the town. per
Right.
se.
Rec and fundraise.
Yeah, rec. Is there anyone else that can fundraise currently?
Not that comes to mind. Nick, do you recall any?
No, none that comes to mind.
Just delineate those that can, and the others can't.
Well, the other ones are already grandfathered by perpetuity articles, allowing them to fundraise. So
Yeah,
the,
but to Tom's point, you don't want the planning board to fundraise.
Right.
right, so that's why I'm questioning whether we need this article or if we have this article. If,
You'd have to add the first responders memorial somewhere to accept, because I'm assuming the town would do that sign into the contract for the memorial and be cutting the checks of that, I'm assuming. So you'd have to.
Well, not necessarily for some of the fire association. for
That's who
instance.
should handle the contract.
but do we want the communications?
Well, the checks that were given this year We're just, are being paid over to the fire association,
Most of them
correct?
are fundraisers.
Yes,
On the warrant, isn't that
Yes.
moving those over? What
Yes.
was
Communications
donated?
committee is a fundraiser. They have no budget.
Well, maybe we'll fundraise for a budget.
it's not something to feel strong.
Yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't mind looking at that possibility, but maybe not at the end of the budget process. And I know why we did it. But the first responders memorial is not a committee, it's not a department, and it's not a town board. So their ability to fundraise towards this wouldn't be assisted by Article 43 at all.
No, and I think it was more of a concern of, I mean, we were really questioning whether or not we could accept and solicit donations for that effort.
Right. So is there a way?
Well, if somebody comes into town, wants to donate, it, why don't we just point them towards
Well,
them?
that's-
Or how
That's what
about to
we've been-
see if the
that's what
town
we've been
will
doing.
authorize the select board to decide to give authority in, a limited capacity to committees, departments who come before the board and request permission to fundraise for a project.
As long as somebody's got around that.
Yeah, I would question whether we want to have departments fundraising. I don't know, it just seems like it can get very confusing and competitive if we have multiple entities raising money for their own budgets or special projects outside of what we're authorized, what the taxpayers are authorizing us to spend.
Right.
So it sounds like there's lots of questions and lots of uncertainty and not, real ardent support for this. And so I would just say, let's move on.
We can look at it for next year.
Yeah, just leave it out.
Well, where did this come from?
This came from Ricky, the first responders memorial. Remember, they wanted to be able to fundraise, but the town was prohibited from promoting the fundraising for it because there was no permission for them to fundraise.
But they found a loop to get into it, correct?
Because it had to be, because we couldn't collect and disperse the funds, correct?
Correct.
So then that's why
Didn't we talk about having a jar or something
Yeah,
here?
and-
People could put
and
money
it's just a
in.
matter of if the voters haven't expressly given us permission to do that fundraising, can we even let people know that this fundraising effort is going on? We've got perhaps the biggest microphone in town when it comes to our social media and our newsletter, for instance, and such. And so we have to be very careful, even for causes that I think everyone should rally around and support.
Isn't this a private organization?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
No, actually, it's a bunch of taxpayers from the town.
It's a private organization.
It's not really not an organization. It's just a group of people who got together after after last year, kind of the pandemic kind of brought things together.
But you guys can certainly go raise money.
Right.
And
exactly.
it's been-
It has
That's
nothing-
not a problem at all.
Yeah, what,
And the town has supported organizations, just standard organizations that want to raise money by putting articles in the town newsletter. It's been done. They did it for the vets.
all right, so I say we get rid of Article 43 for now. Are we okay with that?
yeah, I don't think you guys need permission to cover this.
All right, so let's bounce back, Nick.
Are we 38,
All right, Article 27.
27?
I'll take a motion to untable that item.
So moved. Or
Moved
second.
and seconded. All those in favor for untabling? Barbara, Rick, Kayla, Melanie, and Dan. All right. We are untabled. Bring it, Nick.
You want to just go through each line?
Oh, yes, you know it.
So I increased also under general the fuel, not just heating by 50%, because that also did spike. So general went up to 145, 200. North Belgrade went up to 59, 570. Oh, center policy, sorry, center policy went up to 59, 570. North Bell Community Center went up to 17, 880. Maintenance garage went up to 4350. Salt and Sunset stayed the same. Lakes Fire Station went up to 19,920. Depot Fire Station went up to 4920. North Belgrade Fire Station went up to 4765. Transfer Station went up to 12,265. Park stayed the same. Dalton Properties went up to 12,050. History House stayed the same. Town Office went up to 22,415. And library stayed the same. And the new total I came up with was 315,635, an increase of 13,900.
315.
315, 635.
Okay,
That's 50% increase fuel,
Fuel and heating. So the general heat,
fuel and
fuel and heating, yeah.
heating.
So. 315,635.
In our electric. What, I know that's increased, but are we locked in with that solar or whatever it is we messed with
We're locked in. Yes, sir.
for next year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about an increase at least the next year.
No, it's a rolling 3-year contract.
Make sure.
All right, so Article 27 will now read, to see if the town will appropriate $1,378 from the library mowing contract and raise and appropriate 300.
Melanie. And also appropriate $30,000 from the facility. So it's not in there right now, but remember we talked about it earlier.
And then when we say the facilities fund, so we're talking about the money, the account that the Dalton money goes into.
Yes.
I had that listed as the Dalton account, not the facilities account.
Okay, so what do you have as the facilities?
The facilities account, it's just the facilities. I think that's when any unexpended expenses from facilities goes into. There's a Dalton special revenue. That
Okay, so
Dalton
what
money
are
goes
the, what are
into.
the different balances?
So Dalton. As of, once that 20,000 you got from rental comes in, that'll be at right around 47,000.
Okay.
And facilities is whatever the auditor says.
Okay, so that's what we were talking about the Dalton account earlier. with the
Right, I just want to make sure that
Okay,
we're not talking about facilities.
so we should say it's formally called the Dalton.
I had that, that's what it's listed in here as the Dalton account.
So the question is, so there's another account that's facilities that all unexpended funds from the
I
facilities
believe so, yes.
goes into, and we have no idea what that number is as of right now.
Well, I could give you a rough idea. Hang on. Actually, I can call you the. Alright, 2, 6, 7. $28,000 roughly we go into the account. I have it at 41,000, so it'll be right at what? Just under $70,000 in that account.
I make a recommendation to take 30,000 from that account too.
Yeah, I mean,
So appropriate 30,000 from the Dalton account and 30,000 from the facilities account.
There's a,
Isn't the,
there's a note in the chat from Mary. The Dalton account monies are to go into a facilities reserve account.
that's the way it was set up.
So does it go into the special revenue and then it swings over into the facilities?
I don't know.
Couldn't
Well,
hear
the
you.
Dalton funds go into a facilities reserve account, and the monies from that facilities reserve account are to be used for all facilities in the town of Belgrade.
Which is
That's
what,
what-
if,
that's what we're
that's
trying
what
to
we're
do.
doing, Mary. If we take 30,000 out of that account, it's for facilities and grounds.
Yeah. But no, so the way it was being communicated was that there was a separate Dalton's account. So there is money from the Dalton properties. There's no separate account. That's all the Dalton revenues from the rentals are to go into the facilities reserve account.
That's, I guess, just the order. I'm just looking at what we had last year. We had a Dalton property special revenue account and all the Dalton money went into that. There's a facilities account that had 5,000 at the beginning of last year. So there's one special revenue account, and there's a capital reserve account. One's called facilities, the other one's called Dalton.
And so the question for the auditor would be if those monies in that revenue account lapse into the facilities fund at the end of the year.
Well, they didn't last year.
Right, it did. It's saying
According to
2020.
this anyways, I don't see that.
Audit report, they didn't. It's two separate two separate entities, gone to the other.
Right.
Not
Right.
separate anymore.
What
What's
was,
that?
what was that, Mary?
I just said it's not separate. So that reserve account was changed 3 times, and the way it ended up is that all the Dalton monies were to go into a facilities account. So I'm not sure how, I don't have the report right here, so I'm not looking at it.
Let's one take a look, and that's what I see. I mean, I think you guys would be safe by saying taking 30,000 out of facilities, because there is that much money in there. It's just a Dalton account, I guess it's kind of up in the air.
So then we should
So we
take,
already took 30,000 out of it, right?
Well,
When we got over to, we took 30,000 from the,
Yes, that's what we were talking about previously.
right,
but Mary's saying it's the same account, so. And I can't, according to, I'm just saying what the audit says, there's 2 separate accounts. One's a special capital project fund, which is called facilities. And then there's a special revenue fund called Dalton. And there's a transfer, other revenues of 21,060 going into that, which is,
Oh, that capital fund, was that the fund that they were using to put money towards the new fire station?
Was it for the garage?
oh, there's a,
No, there's a special account for the garage.
yeah, there's a maintenance project account.
In the, and there's a special account for the fire
Right.
station dam.
Okay. So we definitely don't
They
need
each
to-
have their own capital.
If the
If they're the
balance is-
same, yeah. I
if the
agree.
balance is 70 grand or whatever it is.
I think you guys are saying
It's
to take
like-
30 at the facilities.
So 30 and 30, 30 out of
So-
Dalton, 30 out of facilities.
30 from
The
both?
money's there.
Right, because the money's there, it's one of the audit.
okay. And now the increase in the electrical costs and that from the Dalton, like when we figure how much money goes over, do we take out the expenditures like, because we're paying for the heat and the electricity.
I do see a transfer out of that account from last year, $40,000. I can't remember any big projects over there, but there might have been one last year over at Dalton.
We had 2 treatment systems, I know.
And that might have been what it was.
Well, those weren't that much though. Those
No,
little
they're like-
$500 units, weren't they, underneath the
It's more
sink
than
and
that, I think
then,
it's like $1,000,
so 1,000.
not 40,000. I
Was
know
it
we
the
did some
roof?
work.
He did half of the roof.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that the roofing project that came out of that?
Something on the.
Let me take a quick look.
Because that was the other piece too, was the Dalton, you know, if stuff needed to be done to those, to
Taking that out of it, they taken some of the septic pumping out of there, that, who knows. took out of there.
right.
That's why I don't want to make it completely empty.
That's okay. I don't know while staring at you.
No pressure, no pressure.
Oh, what are we waiting for now?
Nick's looking up some numbers.
Just wants to make sure that we've got the money there that,
Trying to find out
What the
Big
Dalton
expense,
is
big
compared to
expense
facilities.
right, well, you do that, Nick. I'm gonna read where I think we're at.
Okay.
Okay. Article 27, to see if the town will appropriate $1,378 from the library mowing contract appropriate 30,000 from the Dalton account and 30,000 from the facilities account, and raise and appropriate 254,257 for a total amount of 315,635. Somebody double check that for me. 5,635.
So what was that raise and appropriate number? You said?
Raise and appropriate 254, 257.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, and then the 2022 proposed, did everybody get next new numbers in there? So general government, general facilities would be 145, 200. Center for All Seasons would be 59, 570. North Belgrade Community Center would be 17, 880. Maintenance garage, 4350. Sand and salt shed, 1,150. Lakes Fire Station, 19,920. Depot Fire Station, 4,920. North Belgrade Fire Station, 4,765. Transfer Station, 12,265. Parks, 9,400. Dalton Road Properties, 12,050. History House, 750. Town Office, 22,415. Library, 500, for a total amount of 315,635.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can figure out what that transfer out is. I thought it was a big project that they had up there, but I can't see any expenditures from that.
The only thing I can see, Nick, by just looking at the auditor's report, on Dalton property, you got the transfer of 42,944, and you look at facilities, so transfers in. of
You're right, yeah.
42,145.
Maybe that is what's happening. Maybe that's just a delay though. That's because there's still 20, according to this, at the end of the year, there's still 26,682 at the end of 2020.
So it is getting transferred, like Mary says,
I guess.
all of it didn't get transferred.
Right.
Well, if that's,
But all the
yeah, it's
money,
not the same number. though.
yeah, that's it,
Yeah, It, who knows?
yeah.
All right, are we okay to vote?
Yeah, as long as the money's there.
All right, Carol,
Well,
Yes.
what's the final number now? One more time.
the final number is 315,635. And then when we do funding from non-property tax sources, transfer from the undesignated fund is 0. Library mowing contract is 1378. Facilities capital reserve is 30,000, and the Dalton Road properties account is 30,000. So for a total amount,
So it's 315,635 less 61,378.
Yes.
That's correct, Jack.
which leaves 254, 257 from property taxes.
Right.
What was that, 254?
254, 257. All right. Whew, Barbara,
Yes.
Rick. Ricky.
I took a little nap.
I
Yeah,
was- I was like, hello. Carol,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses.
Budget committee,
Yes.
Yeah.
5 and any holdouts.
Whew.
That gets us through, right?
That gets us through that portion. All right, next we have the discussion and consideration of the 2022 town meeting format. Take a motion to open that.
So moved.
Read it now.
Moved and seconded.
Change it now.
I think we got through everything, didn't we?
think so.
All right, so no discussion. Boom. I know. Okay, next up, we have the town warrant, and we have 2 warrants, correct?
That's correct. This is the final one for 2001 and the second one for 2000.
I have about 30 seconds before we start.
Sure.
I want to answer Dan's initial comments. Budget committee has put a lot of time on this budget. We've reviewed it, we've sent in comments, we've changed it, we've met with you. It's been a long process. And I've been through a lot of these budget committee efforts over the years. I don't believe this is any more difficult than any other year that I've been through, with the exception of a little scheduling. We should not be going over numbers tonight. We should be voting on the warrant articles, and that's it. So I think next year, if you back this thing up and get a solid meeting where you decide on numbers, you can finish a little more cleanly than you have. But certainly the town staff and this committee has worked hard on this budget. Just so you know.
No, and my comments weren't, you guys did a
I
wonderful job.
understand that.
It's the scheduling, and it's partly our fault for not pushing the schedule and getting it done. You guys did a great job.
That's all I have.
It's us.
That was like 17 seconds. You
I
can,
got more.
you can filibuster.
No.
All right, so
Thank you, guys.
warrant number 158 in the amount of $48,263.27. Take a motion on that warrant. Moved and seconded. Okay, that is open for discussion. All right, Anthony, on page 3, my question under Tricia Davis's ACO mileage reimbursement,
Yes.
is that 763 for the year?
For the entire year.
Okay, so she doesn't submit on a regular basis?
But she keeps track of it. I mean, she provides very detailed records, but that's for the entire year.
Okay. I think don't we usually have folks submit it more like quarterly or,
Typically do, yes.
yeah,
If you want us to press her, to make sure that's done on a quarterly basis. perhaps.
yeah. Why don't we just ask her if she can, if she keeps such good records, if she can just pop those in. Well, because the only thing I had on that one. Anybody else have any discussion on that warrant? All right, seeing none, Ricky,
Yes.
Barbara? Yes. Carol,
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. on Warrant number 158. Now we have warrant number 7. And the total amount of $49,619.51. I'll take a motion to open that.
So move.
Moved and seconded. Let's open for discussion. The only question I had is we paid $310 for a brush chipper. Could we not take the brush to the transfer station and include it into the cost of what we pay to have the brush chipped over there?
What Jason-
Thank you, guys.
What Jason has told me is this is a much more efficient way for him to operate as opposed to gathering all that up.
Yeah, we talked about that, it costs more to
Right.
transport.
Okay, I thought we had. I just hate us renting something if we have a facility and we're gonna do stuff there
Well,
anyway.
the other thing too is it does stack up over there. We have to wait for our grinder to come do his job. He's
The other thing we ought to do at some point is you ought to start getting out some government surplus websites and see if you can find one that could buy fairly cheap. Sometimes the government agencies basically give them away to towns. You know, so let's keep an eye out for one.
okay. I know, contact my friends at the DOT. and see if-
Yeah, but I mean, even federal government,
And they can
Of course,
rent,
the DOT, I think, contracts most of that stuff out. so.
yeah.
I'm like,
You
can
get
can
on-
we rent
you
it
get
to
on some federal
residents?
websites. 'Cause I mean.
With an
fire departments do
operator?
it all the time. You know, a military base will have a brand new fire truck and they decide to close up the base and all the equipment goes. They don't transfer it somewhere else. You can get it for almost nothing.
All right, any more discussion on that one? All right, seeing none. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Rick.
Yes.
All right, 5 yeses. All right. Town manager updates, anything?
Just one quick thing, and I emailed you guys about this. I wish you were right now, because I wanted to gush over you, but Nick is really good. And able to absorb a lot of information about the budget. And recall that it seems like at a moment's notice, doesn't know where to find the information. As I said in my email last week, the auditor was here and last year was not a rough process, but this year it was even smoother than it was last year. Minimal number of questions. Right. In advance. So I'm really glad that we have Nick serving as our judge.
And I think I mentioned something to Anthony about someone was questioning him being the treasurer without a wealth of treasuring experience. And I told Anthony straight up that I was like, like, he's grown exponentially since he started in that position. I think he's doing a great job. I see his confidence getting better and speaks up for himself. And
I've seen many people that have a college degree and end up flipping burgers at Burger King.
well,
So, I mean,
and
some
still,
people just don't have to have all the education and all the experience in the world.
He's a bright guy.
Yes.
all right, if we don't have anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Melanie,
Ah,
so the warrant, I need to know, because tomorrow is the deadline, if this is secret ballot, and I need a motion to place this onto a secret ballot for the warrant articles.
okay,
So
I'll make a motion that we
is
put
the
all
whole,
the, what's that?
is the whole thing going by secret ballot?
Yes,
Okay, all right, 'cause so I need it in a motion, so I need that to be done, that it's going to be placed on the March 19th secret ballot for all the warrant articles.
okay, I'll make that motion that Mary just said. Does that sound good, Mayor?
It sounds good.
All right, moved and seconded. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
No.
Rick,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes.
I'm just that stuck in my gut, so.
I still have a majority. I'm gonna say no. But that's 3 and 2, so motion still carries.
Okay,
Because Barbara, I can see your face. Saying no, because I would like for us to have town meeting. All right, now I'll take a
Especially
motion
with
to adjourn.
COVID. I move we adjourn.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Barbara, good luck tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank
Have
you
fun.
all. It'll be fine. Come and
Fun.
visit. Huh?
Have fun tomorrow.
Oh, I'll have a great time.
It'll
Bye-bye.
be great in the afternoon.
Bye, good night, you guys.
It's when that nerve block wears off.